It's from India Business Insights, and welcome to this new video on how the telecom industry is governed in India. In 1850, the first ever experimental telegraph line was established between Calcutta and Diamond Harbour. Soon after, in 1854, the telegraph facilities were opened to the public. In 1881, a license was granted to the Oriental Telephone Company Limited of England for opening telephone exchanges at Calcutta, Bombay, Madras, Karachi, and Ahmedabad. Therefore, the first telecom laws governing India date back roughly to this period. The big changes in the telecom industry started with the introduction of electronic exchanges in the 1980s and the setting up of C-DOT. The National Telecom Policy was announced in 1994, emphasizing on telecommunication for all and telecommunication within the reach of all. Since then, the various Indian legislations for the telecom industry were constituted of the Indian Telegraph Act of 1885, the Indian Wireless Telegraphy Act of 1933, the Telecom Regulatory Authority of India Act of 1997, and the Information Technology Act of 2000, which is the current and active legislation on telecom laws. As per the latest press reports, there is a new Spectrum Act which is in the works. It may be introduced in the Parliament soon. Besides these laws, there have been many notifications, rules, judgments from the Supreme Courts and High Courts from which form the basis of governing the telecom laws. The Telecom Regulatory Authority of India Act of 1997 provided for the establishment of the Telecom Regulatory Authority of India. The existence of this said authority with appropriate powers is most vital for the introduction of plurality in the telecom sector. A crucial change from fixed license fee to revenue share, general growth of the industry, issuances of license in 2002, liberalization of foreign investment were some of the factors contributing to the boom of Indian telecom over the years. However, the telecom industry, after facing the heat regarding lack of cybersecurity, lagging investments, slow 5G rollout, and geopolitical tensions, witnessed multiple mergers, exits, involvement of foreign players in the market, and several assets which were ready to be acquired. Active policy advancements and initiatives welcomed foreign investments and new players into the market. One major policy change was allowing 100% foreign direct investment in the telecommunications sector without seeking any prior approval. The Department of Telecom has made a report on the renewal of telecom rules to be updated along the lines of innovation, change in technology, and to further ease the laws and encourage investments. The government has proposed that the new agenda should be framed in a very simple language for the convenience of understanding. Spectrum project and consumption, rights of ways, infrastructural development, safety and security are some of the aspects the Department of Telecom expects to address in the new regulation. The government is working on a new regulation titled as the Wireless and Spectrum Act to replace the Wireless Act of 1933. It was initially expected to be introduced in a monsoon session. However, it may be pushed forward to the next parliamentary session. Our telecom laws post-liberalization were a patchwork of some of the important legislations, notifications, court judgments, etc. The Telecom Department has since then already codified these into laws, and some aspects are still being incorporated into laws. Let's look into a few interesting judgments that made progress in the telecom laws. In a landmark case of 1998, BSNL ordered its subscribers to not use its internet for telephone or fax applications. However, access to the blocked websites by BSNL was restored after the filing of a writ petition in the Delhi High Court. In Muthukumar vs. Telecom Regulatory Authority of India and others, a writ petition was filed before the Madras High Court to ban the application named TikTok. As an interim measure, the High Court directed the authorities to ban the said application, which remains banned in India till date. In July 2021, the Supreme Court discharged telecom majors' plea to record complaints on arithmetical errors in calculation. In a recent case, the Supreme Court dismissed the appeal by Vodafone Idea and held that consumer complaints against the telecom companies are sustainable before the consumer forums and commissions. We currently live in the post-pandemic world, which allows us to regretfully remember the huge impact COVID-19 had on every aspect of our lives and businesses. Now, how did COVID-19 change the telecom industry? The pandemic demonstrated the crucial role and the importance that telecommunications play in connecting businesses, societies, and governments. Due to COVID-19, there has been a phenomenal growth in the demand for online services, massive increase in the demand for data and internet connectivity due to the remote working conditions, and enhanced usage of online media and entertainment content. The Indian telecommunications market, which is the world's second largest, has seen a drastic rise in the subscription services. While the mobile telephone in India took several years to reach near universal penetration, in the case of mobile internet services, it has taken just 3 to 4 years. The gross revenue of the telecom sector has been approximated at 9.35 billion US dollars in the third quarter of the financial year of 2021. The media and broadcasting sector has also seen rapid growth in the same year. The government has approved 1.65 billion US dollars in a production-linked incentive scheme for the telecom sector in June 2021. This has had a positive effect on investments in the sector, and it has also prompted the entry of several global players into the manufacturing of mobile devices and components. The government has also introduced and approved several structural and processes reforms in the telecom sector that are expected to protect and generate employment opportunities, promote competition in the telecom market, infuse liquidity, encourage investment, and reduce the regulatory burden on telecom service providers. Some of the key structural reforms include rationalization of adjusted gross revenue to exclude non-telecom revenues on a prospective basis from the definition of AGR. This reform is key and is aimed at providing relief to current telecom and network service providers in India, which have been subject to heavy monetary penalties imposed by the Supreme Court for non-payment of AGR due for decades. The government has also introduced the following under the telecom reforms of 2021. Know Your Customer requirements for obtaining connection under the Unified License or Unified Access Services License, a one-time password-based process for conversion of mobile connections from prepaid to postpaid and vice versa. The Telecom Regulatory Authority of India is a regulatory body set up under the Telecom Regulatory Authority of India Act of 1997 to oversee the functioning and regulation of the telecom and media broadcasting sector in India. It is the sole autonomous body having the authority to fix tariffs for provision of telecom and broadcasting services. It regularly issues recommendation to the Department of Telecom, where the Department of Telecom is required to mandatorily consider and subsequently incorporate in the licenses so issued by it. The TRAI Act provides for the creation of Telecom Dispute Settlement Appellant Tribunal, which adjudicates disputes arising from the said Act, such as tariff orders of TRAI and inter-party telecom and broadcasting disputes. The Wireless Planning and Coordination Wing was established under the Department of Telecom in 1952. The WPC is a national radio regulatory authority responsible for the general management and licensing of spectrum frequencies in India. In line with the objectives of the National Telecom Policy of 2012, it was sought to consolidate all the different licenses that were required to be obtained by service providers for the provision of telecom services. Towards that objective, TRAI recommended a shift from independent licenses to a unified license regime for all telecom services. The unified license provides an opportunity of applying to the Department of Telecom to seek licenses and authorizations for various telecom services under a consolidated unified license. The new telecom policy of 2018 has been formulated in place of the existing national telecom policy of 2012. It aims to facilitate India's effective participation in the global digital economy. The 2018 Amendment Guidelines allows the surrender as well as the trading of excess spectrum within 1 year of permission being granted by the Department of Telecom and in cases where it exceeds the prescribed limits. Some of the key features of this amended policy include ensuring connectivity to all uncovered areas, attracting investments of 100 billion US dollars in the digital communications sector, training 1 million manpower, establishing a comprehensive data protection regime for digital communications, and to enforce accountability through appropriate mechanisms to assure citizens of safe and secure digital communication services. One of the latest updates regarding the spectrum auction is Jio acquired 24,470 MHz spectrum across bands after spending Rs 88,178 crore. The government has received bids for a little over Rs 1.50 trillion in the auctions. It is understood that India needs a thriving telecom industry to cater to its market of billion-plus users and catch up with countries like China and South Korea that already use super-fast 5G networks. The central government and the Telecom Regulatory Authority have to function as active trustees for the public good. Therefore, with the emergence of novel technologies, it is vital to have adaptive and future-ready legal regulations to address the present conditions of the telecom industry. We at India Business Insights look forward to bringing you similar useful videos. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe below. Thank you.